everyone. Today we're gonna talk about some real shit, okay? Bulking. I feel like when you bulk, it's such a pivotal moment in your fitness journey. Like you're ready to go all in, feet wet, but at the same time, there's a lot of rules and a lot of mistakes that I've made along the way that I'm gonna share with you guys so that you don't make that same mistake. Number one, let's start with how do you know when to bulk? Now, we all have different goals, but I'm gonna try to break it down as simply as I can. If you are looking to fully commit yourself into gaining muscle, you don't care how much fat you gain, you just want to focus on gaining muscle. That's when you know, all right, it's time to bulk. The most common season for people to bulk, not that there is a season dedicated to it, but there is a season that a lot of people bulk, and that's in the winter. And the reason why is because that's when you can cover yourself. You know, you can wear layers so that your extra fat that you're gaining isn't really noticeable. I think, honestly, it's a very vain reason. Bulking in the winter allows you to show your muscles that you gained in the summer. So that's a really popular time. However,
I'm not everybody.
I will bulk in the summer, in the winter, in the fall. It's just whatever I want. If I feel like,
you know what? I want to gain muscle.
Whatever time it is, just do it. Don't worry about the seasons or how your body's gonna look. Bulking is when you fully commit yourself to gaining muscle in a surplus. So you're eating more than you're maintaining. Now, let's get into the tips and tricks because there are quite a few. Number one,
Don't OD.
Just don't. You don't need to jump in with your whole body in the water. It's okay to get your feet wet a little bit first. What I mean by that is start slow and small. That's how I started, and that's what I felt like was the best way for me to go about bulking, especially me as somebody who gets easily triggered by my body and I overanalyze things a lot. Going in a slow, continuous bulk allowed me to feel out my body, feel out what it needed, what it lacked, what was too much. I remember at first when I started out bulking, I just went crazy. Like I added 500 calories to my bulk when I'm pretty short. I'm 5'1", and that is OD. That's a lot. So I saw a lot of fat gain. Of course, I was getting muscle as well, but when you're in such a high surplus, your body just gains fat a lot quicker, faster. So if you want to start off slow, definitely do it. I changed my training so that I can add 50 to that number. And then in 2 weeks, I added another 50, then another. So my body was slowly acclimating itself to this bulk period without fully just adding 500 calories to that bulking, like straight up, especially for my short girlies.
Don't do that.
Okay, like technically all you need in a surplus is just to be in the surplus, not be 500 calories in that surplus. Okay, so technically you're still bulking if you only add 50 or 100 calories over your maintenance. And that's perfectly okay. That's just basic biology. You are in a surplus. It doesn't matter what that number is. You are going to gain some type of fat or gain a lot of muscle regardless. Number two, unfortunately, we are not Barbies, so we need to eat real food. A lot of people think that,
oh, I'm bulking, I'm eating a surplus, I can just eat whatever.
No, okay? I mean, if it's your choice, yeah, do it. But if you want to maintain the best physique possible, eat whole foods. You want the majority of what you're eating to be real, okay? You want the majority of your protein and your macronutrients, your micronutrients to be from real foods, be it that. Basically anything that is fresh, real, okay, not processed or packaged. A lot of people, when they gain or lose weight, this is common in people who don't really go to the gym, but you realize that they look the same compositionally, even though their body looks smaller than before because they lost weight. And the reason that happens is because they didn't change what they ate. They just changed the number of the calories that they ate. So when you change the type of foods that you're eating, you see much more of a difference than if you were to just eat in a deficit. So with that being said, we can take that same ideology into bulking, right? The more whole foods you eat while you bulk, the better you're going to look, or the more, I don't want to say lean because we are bulking, but the more lean you're going to look in that bulk. Nutrient dense foods are so important when you're bulking, not just for your muscles that are tearing and repairing, your sleep as well, but also if you want to look the best that you can look while you're bulking, make sure that you're eating whole foods, okay? Now, it doesn't need to be every single day, right? Like it's okay if you want to eat a protein bar, protein pasta here and there, but you want the majority of what you eat in a week to be real. The reason why processed foods are so bad for you is because they don't have nutrients. And when you don't have nutrients in foods, where do you think they go? Your body digests processed foods a lot faster than real food. And you would think, oh, that's a good thing, right?
No.
That means you burn fewer calories digesting that food, which can lead to obesity and other health problems. So it only makes sense that when your diet is primarily processed food or fake protein and things like that, your body just holds on to a lot more fat that way. So whole foods, your body's gonna thank you later, it's gonna look better, and you're going to feel so much better, which is the most important thing of all. Number 3. Y'all are not gonna like this one. Adding in cardio.
Okay.
Y'all, you do not need to tell me twice. I hate it too. For so long, I tried to avoid it. I hated it. I despise cardio. I don't like my heart racing really fast. I don't like to sweat profusely. But unfortunately,
you got to get on your Zoom. Every morning you got to get on.
It's just the way to go. There's this research article that talks about it, and they explain that the more cardio you add to your diet, the more you're prone to losing fat and burning those calories. The research article actually talked about the impact of aerobic exercises on your waist. And usually this process goes, if you add in cardio, you burn more calories, the chances of you losing fat are higher. When you lose fat, you have a higher chance of having a smaller waist. Obviously, taking into account the fact that fat is genetic, you know, if you gain fat really easily in your stomach, then that is probably the last place it's going to leave, but it's going to leave eventually, right? A small waist comes from fat lost, comes from burning calories. So if you add in cardio to your bulk, it's going to be a lot easier to keep your physique or keep a physique that's at least aesthetically pleasing to you, but also gaining muscle and, you know,
Ass fat.
next, you have to train hard. I mean, this is such a no-brainer, but I think that people confuse training hard with lifting heavy. Let's be clear. Heavy is relative to you. 25 pounds is extremely light to me. For someone who's never trained before, that is
Really heavy.
so when I say to train heavy, that means relative to you, okay? Now, when I say train hard, I'm talking about training to failure. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's heavy, right? The number one recipe for growing muscle. Training to failure, or at least 1 to 2 reps shy of failure. Just because you train really, really hard doesn't mean that you're gonna gain muscle. But when you train to failure, that's when the growth is gonna come in. You can do that in a various number of ways. There's so many different ways to progressively overload, which is the key, obviously. But when you're bulking and you're not training to that point of muscle failure, it's kind of like
I'm finding it.
you're not really getting the most out of your gains, okay? You want those calories put to use. You want those nutrients put to use, not just in the gym, but also after. Train hard, train to failure. My perfect recipe that I find works really, really well with my clients, myself, is when we use all those different forms of progressive overload and then we up the weight. That includes slow downs, which is when you slow down the workout by 50%. Supersets, when you're doing 2 workouts at once. First, you're doing like 10 reps of the first one, 10 reps of the other one, take a little rest, then go back to it. That's a superset. You can do that with moderate weight and your legs would be shaking. Tempo, which is when you do something like 1 rep, 1/2. 1 rep, 1/2. That's really popular with hip thrusts. Pulses, where you do 10 full reps and then you do 10 pulses at the end. All of these are ways that you can still use moderate weights, but still train really hard because your glutes are gonna be crying. And that's what you want. So once you do all of those different progressive overload methods, then you up the weight. When all of those get hard, then you up the weight. Form is everything, you guys. Everything. If you're not feeling it, but you need to, you are wasting your time. That is my motto. I tell everyone this all the time. Not just form, but also mind to muscle connection. Mind to muscle connection, I feel like comes naturally when your form is popping.
Oh my God. Are they okay? You got a cigarette and a goddamn lighter?
I feel like your mind to muscle connection comes really easily when your form is top tier. So those two kind of go hand in hand. Don't focus too much on going heavy too fast. Only go heavy if you absolutely need to and you are an expert at all the other progressive overload methods.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it. I mean, bulking, obviously it's a constant relationship and communication with you and your body and your muscles. But once you find that perfect tweak, that perfect recipe that works for you and your muscles, like nothing can get in the way of you gaining muscle. I promise you. Those are my holy grail bulking tips. And if you guys want a more personal touch, you can book a consultation with me and we can talk about your fitness journey, your routine, what's working, what's not, and I'll be able to help you one-on-one. So that's linked in the bio. And it was so nice talking to you guys. Stay cute, continue to lift, and be patient with yourself. Bye.